And welcome back to an episode of Ministry Truth. I am your only host on this show. Always be your only host on this show. And we're just going to follow up for a lot of shit that happened this weekend. Wow, that was quick. Anyway, a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff that you should find interesting, because I did. But before we get started, go get your drink, get you something to eat, get you something to smoke. All the normal shit you guys do early in the morning. Or it's not really early anymore. I mean, it's 11, lunchtime. Get you some lunch. Doesn't have to be healthy, because it's food. Food does a body good. So does milk. Whole milk. I believe some other stuff. Just don't eat them from India. Stay away from India. We'll get over that in a while, but before we get there, just got to get started with an oldie. By oldie, I mean a shit. Middle school? Shit. Anyway, for your listening pleasure, until YouTube tells me I can't play it because, well, they don't like it. The rooster.
Yeah, here come the rooster.
Yeah!
You know he ain't gonna die. No, no,
No, one.
no, he ain't gonna die.
All right. Okay. Oh. Those of you who don't know, the Super Bowl is on Sunday. Sunday. I wonder who's gonna win. I mean, I'm not, pushing it one way or another. I don't really. Wait. Oh wait, this is not a Super Bowl hype video. This is for the Patriots Super Bowl.
And the
Don't
aggressive
confuse me.
call sends New England to the Super Bowl.
They say warriors aren't born, they're made, forged on the road, in places that don't care who you are. This team didn't get comfort. They got hostile crowds, cold nights and louder doubts, and they won anyway.
We'll play wherever they want us to play.
This is a roster with dirt under its nails, pads cracked, lungs burning, and battle-tested, with a defense that hounds, hunts, and hammers. And an offense that bends, battles, and never breaks. Against the odds, against the noise, they call us a city of champions. And this city breeds warriors. This is for Red, Russell, Williams, or Bird,
Eddie Baseball.
Poppy. For all fans standing in the bitter cold. For all of them, the hits.
You know what's shitty? Like, if I want to buy a custom-made Patriots jersey, I can't use my lucky number because it's a retired number and my name's not Ted Williams.
The stands, the silence. Because warriors don't need comfort. They claim ground. Old values, new blood. The Patriot way. The road ends here. It's once more unto the breach, dear friends. Once more. And the Warriors, they've come out to play.
Lean on your brother. We all we got. We all we need. Warriors!
All right. Sorry, that was for me. Obviously, you guys know that was for me. Let's listen to now we're getting to some good stuff. It's not really good, just with everybody paying attention to riots and Epstein, which we're going to get into as well. It's safe to remind people there's more than that shit going on in the world.
We have not received any information on the Board of Peace. Do you commit to informing us about what the heck this is?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a board of peace.
Thank you. Well, I mean,
But-
I'll just note that Albania, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Belarus, Bulgaria, Cambodia, Egypt, Hungary, Indonesia, Israel, Jordan, Kazakhstan, Kosovo, Morocco, Mongolia, Pakistan, Paraguay, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, UAE, Uzbekistan, and Vietnam. There are a lot of countries with whom we normally work very closely and with whom we are aligned geopolitically
Right.
in terms of values that are not on the Board of Peace. And so I think it's reasonable for us to
That's weird. So he's trying to unite the rest of the world, and that's a bad thing? Huh? Well, I mean, look at you. I'm just going to go on a limb and say you're a Jew.
wonder whether something in terms of competitive structure to sort of either undermine the UN or circumvent the UN. I just worry that a lot of our friends
Tell
are
them,
not
Rubio.
on that list, and some of our adversaries are.
So 2 points. The impediment that they have is, first of all, it was chartered by the UN.
Oh.
I mean, the UN, it's a UN resolution that actually created the mechanism by which
Oh.
the board was set up. And the primary and sole focus of that board right now is to administer phase 2 and phase 3 of the plan in Gaza.
Okay.
And we
Whoa.
welcome, all these countries have been invited. Some in Europe have chosen not to join it, either because they have constitutional, they require constitutional approval of their parliament in order to join, depending on some leaders. Like, for example, I'm thinking there are a couple countries in Europe that could not join until they got permission from their vote. In other cases, because they are concerned about what you just pointed out, they argue and they want to know, is this a replacement for the UN? This is not a replacement for the UN, but the UN has served very little purpose in the case of Gaza,
Can I-
other than the food assistance.
Can I just
and
move
so we
on
think it's
to-
critical to have something that's in charge of that.
One final 10-second question. We are hopefully about to enact appropriations law either this Friday or soon after that. And I just want your commitment to work with my team and anyone else who has jurisdiction on the implementation of the SFOPS bill.
Yes, of course, and we're very happy you're about to pass it. Even if you pass none of the other budgets, you should pass that one.
Thank you. I agree.
Marco's
This is 8 News
We're
Now.
going to jump around all day today. This one is from Las Vegas on a field trip, I believe, to Costa Rica, which is weird because in high school trips, we didn't go to Costa Rica.
Live, local, now.
Good evening. Police say 8th graders at a Las Vegas private school are seen on video committing a brutal sexual assault against another student. And it's a very disturbing
A male
story.
student.
This is 8 News Now at 6. I'm Denise Valdez.
And I'm Brian Loftus. Now, we want to warn you, this is a story which is very sensitive and graphic. 8 News Now investigator Vanessa Murphy piecing it all together.
Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Vaughn Griffith, one of 4 8th graders who Metro Police say
fucked around
took
and
part
found
in a
out.
graphic and violent sexual assault
Big
of
time.
another student. The boys were on a field trip to Costa Rica last April through the Alexander Dawson School, a Las Vegas private school where tuition costs more than $30,000. Sir, what's your true full name?
Vaughn Kendall Griffith.
Griffith, just 15, now charged as an adult for possession of visual presentation depicting sexual conduct of a child. A judge moving him from the juvenile system, calling the crime heinous and
Get 'em when you're
egregious,
young.
and pointing to the safety of the community, while also acknowledging Griffith's upbringing and background as a class president and golf champ.
Who
The
cares?
video is so graphic, the court sealed it. But police described the attack in this arrest report we obtained for more than 2 minutes. The victim screaming and crying as the boys laughed at him, threatened him, and assaulted him. Police say Griffith recorded the video and kept it in his Snapchat account. His defense
Oh,
attorney
what a
points to a
moron.
disparate treatment between how he's treated compared to the other boys, while the Clark County District Attorney's Office is not responding to our inquiry about whether they face charges. Attorneys for the victim say they are confident the system will render justice for him. We also reached out to the Alexander Dawson School, which said in a statement, in part, the school was made aware of serious allegations regarding male middle school students while in their hotel rooms during a class field trip. They take such allegations incredibly seriously and promptly reported them to law enforcement. Police say the victim's mother told the principal, who called police last May. Then in January, a grand jury indicted Griffith.
We have not named the other teens believed to be involved because it appears they are not charged in adult court. Griffith pleaded not guilty and is expected back in court in June. Records show.
You think he got the charges because it was CSAM that he had on his phone? No matter if he's 15 himself, but he's still on this phone. Right? In theory? What's up with Ghost?
He is no longer in custody, but he has many restrictions after a family member posted $20,000 bail. Vanessa.
Shit. They can afford a $30,000 a year school. They can afford $20,000. And I hope this kid doesn't think he's going to get off like that dude. Oh, I can't remember the dude's name. Fat fuck. That violently raped 2 women. So kids in a middle school from Las Vegas went on a field trip to Costa Rica, and a group of boys sexually assaulted another boy, and one of them filmed it and had it on his Snapchat. And the boy that filmed it's 15 years old, but he's getting charged with an adult because it was CSAM.
Family is still in shock tonight. They're calling the attack
Yo, this is fucking disgusting right here. What just happened here?
pure evil. A vigil was held tonight to honor the young mother who is looking forward to having another baby. Tonight, family is remembering 30-year-old Eliza Morales, a mother, wife, and daughter.
We're still in shock. It was a horrific, violent crime committed. Eliza did not know the victim.
According to court documents, 19-year-old Nettis
Rodriguez
is behind bars after allegedly stabbing Eliza 70 times.
Dude, for somebody that doesn't know, I'm assuming they didn't know each other, 70 times? That's a mental illness.
Then setting her home on fire. Eliza was 5 months pregnant.
She fought for her life. She was
might have been burned
ultimately
alive.
stabbed to death. The apartment was lit on fire, and she bled out and she burned with a baby inside of her. Pure evil.
Prosecutors say Eliza and Ravukas met on Facebook Marketplace and eventually met in person in the 2300 block of
Dude, that's
Ogden
why you got
Avenue
made
to
up a police
finalize
station.
a truck sale. Ravukas initially denied involvement, then confessed to the killing, claiming he was angry about the condition of the truck.
So
During the attack, Eliza allegedly
you're angry about the condition, so you stabbed 70 times? Did you buy the truck? Or are you upset so you stabbed her 70 times? You piece of shit. What's up, Yeti?
told him she was pregnant. Prosecutors say the unborn child died due to the mother's fatal injuries. Family says Eliza was still alive when the fire was started and tried to escape. After the fire, Ravukas allegedly changed his bloody clothes at a nearby Ace Hardware. The family dog was also stabbed between the eyes.
It's just too painful, and it's just...
Family says Eliza and her husband were looking forward to growing their family.
But she was such a smart mom, you know, she was healthy food, organic, always at the library with the babies, always reading, teaching them.
So I'm confused, right? And the reason that I'm confused is that I'm trying to understand, how is she selling the truck on Facebook Marketplace? Now, that doesn't absolve him. Obviously, we're going to get to him in a minute, because as we reveal more details, this is just gruesome. This is absolutely crazy. And this is why, you know, you can't be out here doing your own thing. I hate to say this, and I keep on emphasizing it, but women are at risk and they are vulnerable. And to think that she got stabbed 70 times and was still alive. Do you know how many 70 is? Was still alive once the house got set on fire, and she was pregnant, and she had a man in her life, and she was the one that was meeting up with this guy to sell this truck. This is miserable, honestly.
So they're gonna take care of him in jail? I hope. Most likely they would, because it's women and children, right?
This is absolutely miserable. I just can't even think about anything that would be any worse than this. Yo, and she possibly burned alive? I would not wish this on my worst enemy. I would not wish this type of situation. And I've honestly, this came across my desk probably 2 or 3 days ago. And I just haven't, I've been neglecting to cover it because, you know, I like to react to stuff in real time. So when I see the headline for it, and I'm going to come back to the article or to the videos, when I seen the headline for it, it was just crazy, because it's like, how can you stab somebody 70 times? But now that I'm watching the video, it's 10 times
normally
worse
it's
than what I
crime
expected
of
for it to
passion
be.
that many times.
Because they saying that she possibly was still alive, that the dude stabbed the dog between the eyes, and then the woman is up there selling a truck on Facebook Marketplace while she pregnant to a person that she ain't never met before, and she don't even know him. Yo, this is crazy, bro. This is absolutely crazy. When I hear stuff like this, it just makes me even more vigilant to be a protector for the women that are in my life.
Yep.
It just makes me more vigilant, because it's just like, yo, anything could happen to anybody at any time, and there's so many monsters out here. It is so many evil people out here that's doing some of the most heinous crimes and things. And if he did this purely out of anger because he was upset at the condition of the truck, which he could have just walked away, right?
Yeah.
If he did this because he was angry at the woman, who's to say what he's done prior to that? Who's to say what other things could possibly have happened, you know, in other situations that would have led to him to be a crash dummy that he is? This is just crazy. This is absolutely insane. You know, only thing that I could say is prayers up for this woman's family. And when I see stuff like this happen, you know, we need to bring visibility to this, because women need to be sitting down and chilling, especially if you're pregnant. And I honestly, my biggest thing is, why was she allowed, because women need to be protected from themselves, why was she allowed to sell this truck on Facebook Marketplace and meet up with this guy in the first place? This is insane, bro. It is like, this whole story is just crazy to me.
You know, to grow up to be great adults like her. Unfortunately, that was ripped away from her.
Ravukas is expected back in court on Thursday morning. Eliza leaves behind a husband and a 2-year-old daughter. The family has created a GoFundMe page to help with funeral expenses. If you'd like to help, head to fox32chicago.com. In Downers Grove, Liza Moreno, Fox
Chicago.
Prosecutors describe a Facebook Marketplace exchange turned into a grisly killing.
If it's Chicago, he's probably going to walk.
that it showed just how far this suspect could be driven over something as trivial as a damaged truck, and he called him a real and present danger. Nidas Ravuka said little in court today after prosecutors outlined the horrifying details of the crime that unfolded Monday night. 30-year-old pregnant mother Eliza Morales was brutally attacked, stabbed 70 times, her dog stabbed between the eyes, and her Downers Grove apartment building set on fire. Police say Ravukas told them it was because her husband sold him a broken truck. Police say he confessed and described mounting evidence, including electronic and video evidence.
Okay, so now I'm starting to learn more about it. She wasn't the one that actually sold the truck. He's saying that the husband sold the lemon. And so I'm guessing that...
Yo, listen, if it's on Marketplace, don't expect it to be a fucking perfect fucking truck. Especially if you paid for $5,000, it looks like. Maybe in 3 digits. I can't really tell.
Dude came back for revenge, and so he took her out. So this was a previous transaction that then
I would find him and eliminate his entire family. No fucks given.
Bloody clothing recovered at a nearby Ace Hardware store where Ravukas told police he had dumped it. They also found bloody gloves and boots. Prosecutors call the crime beyond comprehension.
Crazy.
Violent crimes like this can shake a community to its core. But the public should be reassured that in Downers Grove and in DuPage County, public safety remains the #1 priority.
The Downers Grove police chief saying he felt someone was looking over them as they gathered evidence.
We cannot determine at this point how many injuries came from a knife or some other type of a weapon. It may have been a screwdriver, but that is something
that hurts even
we
more.
hope to uncover in the course of the investigation.
Ravuka's public defender argued that he was still a teenager and had no criminal record and could possibly stay with his father and brother who were in the courtroom today.
Nailed it. This motherfucker's gonna walk.
The judge, however, rejected that. His arraignment now set for February 18th at 9:30 in the morning here in DuPage County. Roseanne Tejas, Fox.
Listen, bro, this is evil. This is just flat out evil. Straight
He ain't
up,
gonna make it.
all across the board. It ain't no way that this guy should ever get out of jail. Honestly, I think that this...
Hey, Yeti, could him joining a white boy gang save him? Or are they gonna fuck him up too?
is a situation where
Are they gonna extend that asshole?
Even in this mugshot photo, he doesn't look like he cared even a little bit, and he's really nonchalant about it. And the dude just grabbed a knife or a screwdriver or whatever and just started killing anything and everything that was around it. Even when she said that she was pregnant, he still went through with it.
Well, not Russian, but Eastern European.
The husband that possibly, cause see, now I just want to know more details. That he just pulled back up, came back to the apartment. Like, usually what happens is if you ever want to sell a vehicle, cause you know, you used to be able to sell it off Craigslist. Now it's Facebook Marketplace. You meet at a police station. You know, you never meet at your house. This is rules of engagement. It's crazy. Anyways, let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Just dropped the video today. I love you. I appreciate you. Be safe out there, y'all.
Should Alex Preddy have been carrying a gun? That's what we've been asking.
All right, so this is from Minneapolis. And these are gun owners. I'm looking it up right now, Yeti.
Gun owners all day in Minneapolis.
We are at the gun store in Robbinsdale. This is the Twin Cities metro area, probably the most popular place. A lot of people are going to come.
Everyone we spoke to today was a strong believer in the Second Amendment, but that didn't mean they all thought that Alex Preddy was right to bring a gun to an anti-ICE protest. What was your reaction when you found out Alex Preddy was a gun owner and was carrying a gun?
My first thing I wanted to do was watch the video, find out what happened, because of course everybody said that he got shot for carrying.
Oh, look, he's a black gun owner too.
a gun owner and was carrying a gun.
My first thing I wanted to do was watch the video, find out what happened, because of course everybody said that he got shot for carrying a gun. And I was like, I keep getting told that, people get shot because they did something simple a lot or whatever by law enforcement. But I'm like, what else were they doing? Once I saw the video, the police had come up to that first person in the video and they had sprayed
so check this out.
laid hands or whatever.
I didn't know this because I thought the one where Preddy gets slammed the first time, 11 days before the 13th, I thought that's where he got his rib broken. I was wrong. He got his rib broken a week later by ICE and CBP. So that was his third interaction in 12 days. That last one was his, unfortunately, how he found out. He had 3 interactions with them, all ended up being violent. It doesn't fit their narrative anymore.
On that person. And then the point where he crossed the line for me, where he chose to enter it, which he shouldn't have done, knowing he's got a firearm on him, was when he laid his hand on the cop. And I was like, oh no, that's the part people are not wanting to address. Because once you've done that, you're not only already technically doing something illegal, even though it's just petty,
already did.
And you're now breaking the legal laws for carrying a firearm. You can't willingly participate. So if you see something happening and you don't have to get involved, you don't get involved. You know what I'm saying? It's just what you do. It's written in the law. You got to do it whether you want to or not. You know what I'm saying?
That dude look like he can talk to you about guns for days.
And you can't just disregard it.
You are a gun owner. How many do you own?
From a
BFW, no shit, he's a gun owner.
I got a 38 Police Special. I got a 9mm handgun.
What was your reaction when you heard about this shooting and then you learned that the man who was shot was actually carrying a gun himself?
What was that guy thinking? He's going to go down and talk to the ICE guys who are armed with everything. His mind must have been slipping a little bit.
Would you ever have brought a...
I hope it's not right, because that kid's not a kid. Because this one's saying his name is Michael Jackson, age 41 to 42, when they got arrested in 2024. No way, that dude's not black. Unless he's light-skinned and mixed. I don't know, man. Because that actually happened in Detroit. Not Chicago.
A gun to a protest?
No, I would not.
Like many people we spoke to today, that man was a lifelong Republican. But this story isn't following usual party lines. Now Democrats are the ones defending the Second Amendment.
Then I seen all these videos and I never saw a gun per se, and I get to the point where I don't want to watch the news anymore. These guys are down there pushing people, and I even thought about going down there, but my wife would kill me if I did. I'm a Teamster, and we have our tactics, when we're on strike, and going to that point where these guys are just overwhelming people is what they were doing, and the fact that Second Amendment, they can carry a gun, and he was trying to help a woman who got pushed down or whatever, and I just don't like the way they're doing stuff, and that's what irritates me.
You've even thought about protesting out there?
I thought about it, yes. Yeah, to stand up for freedom, I guess. Since this new administration's taken over, it's like, a dictatorship.
All right, so this guy, he was all about getting those Epstein files out because he wanted his slam dunk against Donald Trump. I don't think he got what he wanted. And I'm glad, because you know what? I can't stand this motherfucker, and we all know why. As soon as you see who it is.
I want to start with the Epstein files and what the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, told me in the last segment, that effectively, case closed. It's possible if somebody sees something with all of these documents that have been released that requires them to look into a potential prosecution, perhaps. But other than that, they're done.
And case closed has been their mantra since January. In January, they demanded all the files from the prosecutors in New York who were running the case, brought them to Washington and said, this case is over. We're not doing anything else. They told us the same thing when Kash Patel came to the Judiciary Committee. He said, it's been fully analyzed. Everything's been redacted. There's nothing to see there, and there are no further cases. And when people said, have you spoken to all the survivors? There are dozens of survivors who are out organizing and talking about.
It's not a dox, it's public record.
What needs to be done. He says, well, our doors are open if they have something to tell us. They've done no real investigation. Their entire determination has been to shut down, to protect Donald Trump. And your interview with Mr. Blanche is astonishing because it shows he has never once attempted.
You do know that, Raskins, they said that you guys specifically, I said Eastern European, didn't I? Maybe? Because I said Russia, Eastern Europe. And now you threw me off. See why I turn off chat sometimes?
Attempted to make the transformation from being Donald Trump's personal criminal defense lawyer to the #2 person for the United States Department of Justice.
The Blanche said that, hey, if you guys want to see the unredacted one, set up a time you can look at it, everything. So you can see what was redacted and what wasn't. They're probably not going to take him up on it, even though he told them. And on top of that, those are only half of what still needs to be released. There's like 2 to 3 million more documents. I wonder how long it's going to take for that. You know, in a way, even though they didn't release all of them the other day, it's actually a good thing because imagine how long it would take to get through 6 million documents. I mean, even when you can just go into the search thing and you can type in a last name and it'll show you every time they were mentioned either in an email or whatever. It's crazy.
I know you want to see, I mean, a lot of this, as the last time, was redacted. A lot of the victims are upset that it looks like they were protecting the people who were, the men who were involved.
Yes.
And not necessarily them. But I know that the Justice Department, he said in his press conference Friday that people like you and other members of Congress could go and see the unredacted documents.
Every picture in there, only the women's faces are blacked out. All male faces can be seen. And there was a lot of pictures. I guess going through all of them would take a long time, but and he did say that there are still pending investigations going on. That's why he can't get all of it. They didn't listen to him. I mean, when I first heard him talking, like, oh, they're just bullshitting again. But then in my mind, it makes all sense why they should only release, not only release, that they only released half of them that day.
Are you going to do that? And
Absolutely.
What are you going to be looking for?
We sent them a letter, and so we're demanding a right to do it. I hope that the Department of Justice will keep to its word and let us in there. Remember, they've said there are 6 million potentially responsive documents there. They've only released 3 million with more than 10,000 redactions. So we have to go look at those redactions. They've not sent us the explanation yet for those redactions. But then what about the other 3 million files? Because
I can't wait to see what happens after they go and actually check the redactions. Oh, I can't wait. Because if they say nothing, then you know. Then you know.
Are witnessing a full-blown cover-up. Remember, not only is there a subpoena to Attorney General Bondi to turn everything over to Congress, now there's a federal law compelling them to turn it over, and yet...
However, you can't turn anything over. It's still a pending investigation or case.
We're just getting these dribs and drabs of information coming out, the stuff that they want us to see.
Yeah. I mean, they say 3 million documents is not nothing, but
it's close to nothing when they're deciding which documents are coming out, and there's a federal law and a subpoena compelling them to just turn everything over to Congress.
4 years. 4 years. If y'all had something like this, you wouldn't have stolen the election. And then you had 4 years. 4 years to look through all of it.
And they said that they had done this process many months ago, and there's nothing to see there.
I want to ask you about Georgia. The Deputy Attorney General didn't seem to know why the Director of National Intelligence was there when they went and seized the 2020 ballots.
I don't know. Maybe a foreign interference in an election place, that would be national security. Considering those Venezuela, and it's weird because Venezuela suddenly is getting involved in that stolen election.
Other information from Fulton County, which is kind of the epicenter of President Trump's unfounded.
And that's why they're mad, because all the tips that were put in were either secondhand, like hearsay, or, you know, when they got back with the victims or attempted to, a lot of them didn't come back, or in one case, uncredible because her mental institutionalized.
Was it, I mean, you're a constitutional expert. Was that something that?
I mean, they haven't given us any explanation. I know
They
that
don't
she's
want to.
had, fairly close relations with Russia in the past, and maybe she's trying to investigate the Russian role. We know that Russia's been trying to.
Wait, you're still running with that Russia? Is he still running with a Russia?
With Russia in the past, and maybe she's trying to investigate the Russian role. We know that Russia's been trying to interfere in our elections since 2016.
That's been proven wrong. You do know that, right? You dirty fucking Jew. Probably not, because your side, your country, the one you have way more patriotism towards than America.
I really have no idea why she would be there, but I will tell you this about the elections case in Georgia. It has been thoroughly.
You know, when Bill Gates was talking about that Russian dancer or the Russian person that he got an STD from, didn't Hunter Biden meet with like Russian heiresses?
Investigated, litigated, and adjudicated repeatedly. And remember, there are 60 federal and state court cases, including from Georgia, including from Trump-appointed judges, rejecting every claim of electoral fraud and corruption. In fact,
that's because they were paid. Corruption goes both ways.
Fox News had to pay Dominion, the Dominion business, $787 million.
They're going to get that back. When Maduro testifies, they're going to get that back.
Because they lied about what had happened in Georgia, and they created, all kinds of
if there was
fraudulent,
nothing
defamatory statements.
Why are they upset about getting investigated? It's a federal election. It's called an audit. It seems like an audit would be a good thing to do. Everything has to be audited at least once a year. When's the last time those election commissions were audited?
It's about what took place there. You can read the January 6th Select Committee report about it. Nobody's laid a glove on that. In other words, this is settled fact. This is what the lawyers call res judicata. It's over. So Donald Trump obviously wants to keep going back to the scene of his crime, his attack on the election, to claim that something's there. But everybody saw what happened. He called up the Secretary of State, a Republican, Mr. Raffensperger, and he said, just find me 11,780 votes. That's all I want. And so that's not.
It turns out it's more like 300,000 votes that swayed that election.
Not Donald Trump trying to stop election fraud. That's Donald Trump trying to commit election fraud.
I do want to ask about something that's coming up in the House this week, and that is the former president, Bill Clinton, and Hillary Clinton. They were already held in contempt by the Oversight Committee. And several Democrats voted yes on that, too. It's going to come before the full House soon. Will you vote yes?
I mean, I will vote yes on contempt against them and anybody else as long as Pam Bondi is part of it. And the Democrats on the Oversight Committee raised Pam Bondi. Remember, she's got millions of documents that.
So only if Pam Bondi's put in the questioning of the Clintons? You can do that separately, but that's not what they're there for. So that's all they're going to do when the Clintons are getting questioned. They're going to keep deflecting back to Pam Bondi and Donald Trump. Watch. That's all that's going to happen. Or Bill is going to have a medical episode.
She is legally compelled to turn over under a months-old subpoena and under federal law, and she's not doing it. So I don't think we should be holding anybody in contempt, including people who've engaged in at least partial compliance, unless we're going to get that huge mountain of documents that's being held by the...
See? He doesn't want them to testify. Why? It should be an automatic yes. No fucking ifs, ands, or buts. What? I don't understand.
DOJ.
So presumably Republicans are not going to do that.
Well, if they're not going to do it, then they're not serious about investigating
Bro.
Epstein.
Bro, I hope they fucking go, you know what? Boom. Fuck you. Now what? Look at his face. You can tell he's scared.
Files, and that's what America wants.
So you vote no on the Clinton?
I will definitely vote no on any partisan measure, one side or the other. I want all of the information from everybody, and
You hear that? He's going to vote no on the Clintons to be in contempt. He just admitted it. Why? Why? And nobody's going to ask why. Because he's going to be like, well, more people need to... Well, they didn't do the shit. The Clintons did. Who cares what the other people did? The Clintons will know what happened. They were named. They have photos. And there's plenty of photos of Bill.
I want everybody to come forward and comply, including Ghislaine Maxwell, G-Max, you know, the sexual predator who...
Y'all didn't want to go meet with her. You talked about it, but y'all never did anything. Hell, she's in Texas in a fucking minimum security prison. Why can't you go interview her now? Why can't you send somebody down there? You're all lawyers, right?
Virginia Giuffre said, open the gates to hell for these women and for these girls. I wonder if Mr. Blanche has even read Virginia Giuffre's book about happened, Nobody's Girl. He should go ahead and read it and try to understand what...
You do know in that book she clears Trump of anything, right, Raskins? Have you read that part? You should read that book. She said Trump had nothing to do with it. You should read that book. Have you read that book? I haven't read that book, but I know that's in it. You're a fuck... You know what? You got to be nice to God's chosen people.
He's doing, because he's acting like his only interest in the whole event is to protect Donald Trump.
I do want to ask about what's going on in Congress, which is directly related to what we were seeing on the ground in Minneapolis. The government is effectively shut down now because the House, the deadline came and went on Friday. The Senate passed a package that would fund most of the government. I shouldn't say the government is effectively shut down. Parts of
illegals.
The government is shut down.
Yeah. It's Homeland Security and some associated.
Homeland Security, and the House Democratic leader, Jeffries, said that there aren't enough Democrats to go along with Republicans to keep.
Remember, Jeffries has got ties to Clinton or Epstein too.
Keep it open. What is going to happen? What do you want to happen in order to reopen the government with regard to DHS funding?
Well, that's the key question, and the country's in an uproar over what we've seen in Minneapolis.
Let's see what's going to affect. So this government shutdown is going to affect the DOD, DHS, as far as FEMA, Department of Transportation, Department of Labor, Department of Health and Human Services, Department of Education, which I thought was gone anyway, Treasury Department, Department of State, passport processing. I mean, it's not really shutting down anything completely. And guess what? They're going to say, oh no, they're going to get payments. Social Security payments will not be affected. Medicaid benefits will not be affected. SNAP benefits will not be affected. Veteran benefits will not be affected. U.S. Postal Service will continue working as normal. Military pay, uniformed personnel usually continue to work and are paid. Okay, so they're going to get paid. Essential law enforcement, national security, and emergency services. Oh, so they're going to get paid. Many mandatory spending programs. Oh, so all the lies they're going to say, we're going to get to that, Yeti. All those lies they're going to try and say that this government shutdown is going to happen, not happening. And the ones that they're talking about, it's not going to have a huge impact.
Where they're shooting U.S. citizens in the face. People are being gunned down simply for exercising their First Amendment rights and their Second Amendment rights. And the whole country's been able to see that and to catch the administration in the lies and the propaganda and the disinformation they're telling. What do we want? We want the Constitution to be enforced. We want ICE to obey all of the laws that every other law enforcement entity in America obeys. They should not be masked. Local police are not.
DEA's masked. ATF is masked. Are you stupid? SWAT teams are masked.
Not masked. The county police are not masked. State police.
That was agreed to in general, but there's a 2-week window while those details are worked out.
Well, that's right.
Will you vote for something that at least funds the government for 2 weeks while that is negotiated?
Yeah, well, the devil is in the details, so we want to see everything that's in there. They should not be anonymous. They should be identifiable, and they have.
Look, just keep that in mind. They're going to scare you. They're going to stick here. Jesus Christ! Try and scare you, saying, "Oh no, the government's a partial shutdown. Okay. Everything that's important's funded. Let's use that, because they voted all these things before the shutdown. That's how I know it got funded, because they were doing issue. But for some reason, they want to argue against CBP, Department of Homeland Security, and their funding when they're funded for the next year. You're not taking away additional funding. They've already got that money allocated, I think, for until 2027. You're not doing anything. So that goes out the window. So you just want to get rid of the protection of the American people. Well, I just contradicted myself.
Is the Department of Justice considering bringing any additional charges here?
Well, look, I can't talk about any investigations, but I will say the following, which is that in July, the Department of Justice said that we had reviewed the files, the quote Epstein files, and there was nothing in there that allowed us to prosecute anybody. We then released over 3.5 million pieces of paper, which the entire world can look at now and see if we got it wrong. And so it's not performative, and I respectfully disagree with that statement. We were ordered to do so by Congress and then by the President of the United States, and that's what we did. And let me, I said it on Friday, this Justice Department, the FBI, DHS, we have gone after more sex traffickers, more child pornographers, more men who have done harm to children and young women than any administration in history. And so we need to separate those two ideas, the fact that there's the Epstein files and whether there's anybody there that we can go after, and the work that we are doing every day, which is extraordinary, and we will continue to do that.
You just said that now these documents are out for the world to see and maybe something could come up. Are you suggesting that if a sort of civilian sees something that you should prosecute, that could open an investigation?
Well, look, the way that we start many of our federal cases is because we hear tips from civilians or from others in the community. But my point in saying that was slightly different. It was that the review that we had done before concluded that there was no such information, and that's where we remain for what we've seen and what we've released from the Epstein files. Now, there's a lot of correspondence, there's a lot of emails, there's a lot of photographs, there's a lot of horrible photographs that appear to be taken by Mr. Epstein or people around him, but that doesn't allow us necessarily to prosecute somebody, and that's what's important for the American people, and the victims want to be made whole, and so we want that. The Attorney General wants that more than anything, but that doesn't mean we can just create evidence or that we can just kind of come up with a case that isn't there.
Among these new files is a list compiled by the FBI just in August of numerous salacious and, to be really clear, unverified allegations about President Trump. Why did the FBI create this list last year, and have all of these claims been investigated by the DOJ?
Bless you.
So look, it's not about President Trump. It's about a ton of people, multiple people that were, quote, in the Epstein files. And what I think folks will see when they review the materials we released is that there have been hundreds of calls made to the FBI where allegations are made by either anonymous individuals or people who are very quickly determined to not be credible, whether it's the nature of what they're saying or the fact they won't provide any information or corroboration. And that's part of the Epstein files. So go ahead.
And they even put out some of the ones that were unverified, unfounded. And there's so many more names on it, remember. We got to go through all those people, right? We need to check all of them.
I understand that. But the fact that you created a list, the FBI created a list about the allegations against President Trump, it is certainly noteworthy. I mean, he's a sitting president. And the question.
Yep. Wow, you can't really see it.
Is whether or not the DOJ, but the question is, and I'm not saying that they're verified at all, and that's what my question is to you. Did you look into what you have on those lists?
Yes, of course, but what you're not being fair in that question, because that index, that list you're talking about, was not just President Trump. It was all kinds of individuals, other politicians, other, quote, famous people, where
if you go through there, search pizza or ice cream.
We wanted to understand, okay, there were members of Congress that were accusing us of hiding things, which we're not doing and which we haven't done. And so we wanted to understand why and where that was coming from. And it turns out there was a number of claims made by either, like I said, anonymous people or somebody, for example, calling and saying, I used to have a roommate who told me this sensational story. So just, obviously that's not something that can be really investigated.
Jane Fonda's
What's your roommate's name? I don't remember.
Friends with Epstein.
Right. So that's what that's about. I don't appreciate it being directed towards Donald J. Trump, because that pushes a narrative that is completely false. There are all kinds of people that are mentioned in the quote Epstein files that we had to look at and run down.
Yeah, no, I understand. He is the only sitting president who we're talking about. I do want to move on. Former CNN anchor Don Lemon and another journalist, Georgia Fort, were arrested on Friday on charges they violated federal law during a tense protest at a Minnesota church. A conservative federal judge, somebody who clerked for Antonin Scalia, already had rejected those warrants and wrote that there is no evidence that those two engaged in any criminal behavior or conspired to do so.
However, he told them to move it up. And then eventually they were like, all right, you might have to get a grand jury. Grand jury looked at it and said, you know what? Let's do this.
Then an appeals court held up that decision. Why did you then bring this case to a grand jury after it already had been rejected by multiple judges?
Wait.
So first of all, that appeals court, you're not right. The appeals court, a judge on the appeals court said that there was clearly probable cause. There was absolutely probable cause that a crime had been committed. Okay, so it's true that they rejected the mandamus petition, but yes, by Mr. Lemon and others, it's public. And so, yes, you're right. A judge in that court had said there wasn't probable cause. But guess what? Our system doesn't allow judges to make that decision. They can make that decision to get an arrest warrant on a complaint, but only a grand jury can bring forth an indictment. And so that's what we did. We went to a grand jury, which, as you know, are 25 citizens from Minneapolis and around that decide whether there's probable cause. And that's who returned an indictment.
Mr. Blanche, I want to go, actually, I went through the entire indictment, all 29 alleged overt acts of conspiracy. And there's a lot to ask you about, but I'm just going to pick a few here.
Yeah, I don't think they understand what journalist means these days. At least for these mainstream that end up getting fired.
Okay, starting with overt act number 20, which says, quote, defendant Lemon told his live stream audience about congregants leaving the church and about a young man who Lemon could see was frightened scared and crying. And Lemon observed that the congregants' reactions were understandable because the experience was traumatic and uncomfortable, which he said was the purpose.
Okay.
Over at Act 21 says, quote, as the operation continued, Defendant Lemon acknowledged the nature of it by expressing surprise that the police hadn't yet arrived at the church and admitted knowing that the whole point of the operation was to disrupt.
Right there. Knowing that the whole point was to disrupt. He knew. And he said it many times. And he should have reported it.
Why wouldn't a jury at trial see this as a journalist observing what is happening, which is protected by the First Amendment?
Well, you conveniently left out multiple allegations in that indictment about what else Mr. Lemon did, including surreptitiously avoiding saying where they were going, being part of the planning, being part of the decisions to make sure the police didn't know this was happening and federal law enforcement didn't know this is happening. There are multiple allegations there. And guess what? He gets to have a lawyer and he gets to have a defense. And so if he wants to go forward with the defense that, oh, shucks, I was just a journalist, he can do that. But obviously, as the indictment lays out, and which you didn't read on the air, there's a lot of things that Mr. Lemon did that you would never do as a journalist. You would never do that.
Well, I don't know. She's not.
Let's be honest.
This is not about me. This is about what happened, and this is about kind of the rules of the road. I mean, there are many.
But journalistic
let me finish
matter.
my question. Let me finish my question, and then you have the floor. There are countless examples of when reporters are embedded with
100%.
people with. DOD, where we are told not to tell anybody where we're going. There are numerous examples of when we get embargoed information that we can't report from your agency, for example, and that has happened with presidents in both parties, and we withhold reporting it until you say it's time to report it. That's not unusual, and it's not unlike what happened with Don Lemon and Georgia Ford.
Oh yeah,
Listen,
there were two journalists.
You are totally correct that happens every day, and it's happened for decades. But if you watch what Mr. Lemon did, okay, and I do not want to have a trial right here. It's not fair to him. But I will say that if you watch the publicly available live streaming that he engaged in, the comments that he made, I mean, that's what it matters, right? It matters, like, how do we balance the FACE Act? How do we balance freedom of religion, the right of people to worship on a Sunday morning? Okay, and the freedom of the press, and it's a balance that we have to engage in. I agree with you, but my point to you is that I promise you that neither you nor your colleagues can honestly, with a straight face, if you watch everything that he did in the day before with the planning and the day of with what happened when the comments he made while the kids were crying and screaming and racing away while the parents were looking for their children upstairs,
but he doesn't
while they were just trying to have a church service.
Okay. Bottom line question for you is, was this really about what you just described, or was it about trying to make an example out of somebody who the president has sparred with?
There it is. They're going to completely ignore what he did. They are. That's why they're all defending him, just because they think it's political. It's political persecution. No, man. You were violating their constitutional rights. You don't get a bye because you're a so-called journalist.
I don't even know that the president's even ever thought of Don Lemon. I don't know whether that's true or not. But I will tell you, we're not making examples of people. The day after that happened, the Attorney General flew to Minneapolis. She was there for 3 days. What we saw, there is no scenario under which the American people are comfortable or think that was right. I'm sorry. So no, it's not about making an example. It's about justice.
I want to move on. But earlier this week, the FBI went into the elections office in Fulton County, Georgia, to seize 2020 ballots, voter rolls, scanner images, and the president told reporters, quote, they got into the votes. You're going to see some interesting things happening. What interesting things is he talking about, and why was he so involved in an FBI and DOJ raid?
Well, just because he said that doesn't mean that he's involved. I don't believe he was involved. This is a criminal grand jury investigation, and I can't comment on it beyond what you just said, which is that there was a search warrant that was authorized by a federal judge, by a magistrate judge in Atlanta, that allowed us to go and seize those records, and they have been seized by the FBI as part of an ongoing criminal investigation.
He said interesting things are happening, so it sounds like he was briefed on it.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not around when the president's briefed or not briefed. What I said is that this is a criminal investigation, so it's a tightly held, as it must be under the law. It's a grand jury investigation, and that's how we're proceeding.
What are they investigating?
Jesus Christ.
As you know, we can't talk about specifics of any grand jury investigation. I will tell you, as I said on Friday, as the president has said, election integrity is of the highest importance to the American people, hopefully to everybody in this country, Democrats and Republicans alike. And so we are doing everything we can to make sure that we have free and fair elections.
Okay. And as you well know, that when it comes to Georgia, claims of voter fraud there, because they got the 2020 ballots, have been debunked over and over again. There were multiple recounts. Why was the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, present at an FBI raid?
Again, if the Director of National Intelligence is at an FBI raid, that should be a fucking red flag, because that means it could involve foreign interference, and that would be bad. To knowing what countries are actually interfering with our stuff. Oh, it's Russia. That was unproven. That was disproved.
First of all, it wasn't an FBI raid. It was a search warrant being executed by FBI agents in the middle of the day.
But why was she there?
And secondly, I don't know why the director was there. She is not part of the grand jury investigation, but she is for sure a key part of our efforts at election integrity and making sure that we have free and fair elections. She's an expert in that space, and it's a big part of what she and her team look at every day. But beyond that, I don't, like I said before, this is a grand jury investigation being conducted by a U.S. attorney, and that's where we have to leave it for now.
Mr. Blanche, imagine if President Biden sent his politically appointed Director of National Intelligence to Mar-a-Lago. You and his other personal attorneys would have been understandably very unhappy about it. Are you unhappy that the DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, was there?
Well, first of all, Biden's director of ODNI was involved in that case,
as we all
know. So,
but he was involved?
Okay, but that's hardly
and
the point.
And it also involved classified.
So he was involved, but he wasn't there, so it doesn't. Okay. You just made no sense.
Documents, not necessarily voter rolls.
And as again, there's a lot of classified information around voter integrity, which is something that came out during the case against President Trump and which has been publicly talked about for many, many years. So,
if you think about it, if they find discrepancies, all these mainstream media, they're going to fucking lose. They're going to get bankrupt. You know how many people are going to sue the shit out of them? That's why they don't really want to look into it. That's why they're upset. Yeti, I can preach this all day long, and I think you're the only one so far that's understood. Not saying anybody else hasn't, but at least you're another one that's understood.
Okay, early heads up here for everybody. There's an emerging medical threat that is spreading overseas right now. It's called the Nipah virus, and it is quickly becoming a problem in parts of Asia to the point where airports are starting to step up their screening. This morning we are joined by Dr. Dami Adeyemi. He is an infectious disease specialist at Endeavor Health. Doctor, thank you for being with us this morning to run us through the basics of this. First of all, I had not heard of Nipah. What is it?
Thank you for having me.
Nipah virus, it's a virus that can be spread by animals, so the fruit bat, and it can also
Oh, a bat again?
it can also affect pigs and make them sick. But it's also a disease that can spread from person to person. And also, if the fruit bat contaminates any food, like dates, those can also spread the infection. It was the first time we heard about this was late in the 90s, when there was an outbreak in Malaysia, and it also involved Singapore. That time,
Wait.
it affected.
So if they knew about it in the 90s and they still haven't found a vaccine, so how's it new? And the fucking fatality rate. Fear-mongering, here it comes. The estimated fatality rate, 40 to 75%. Wow. I mean, it's not quite a third of the population that, Bill Gates. Don't sleep with Russians.
Pig farmers. And so the reason why it's worrisome is that it's a highly fatal disease. Fatality reported about 40 to 75%.
Oh, look.
Sometimes. And
it's also no treatment, guys. No treatment. Oh no. The new Black Plague, Black Death, bubonic plague. But that was rats, and these are bats, which are pretty much like flying rats.
There's an outbreak now reported in India, and so everybody is trying to take precaution. But the CDC is monitoring this, and the health ministry in India has told us that they've contained this infection at this time. But we still need to be cautious.
Okay, makes sense. So before we dive into how bad the outbreak is and whether it is indeed
is it an outbreak?
The level that officials are saying, in terms of what it does to the body, can you run us through? You mentioned how it's transmitted, but what parts of the body does it attack?
Good question. And so when somebody is infected, they could have non-specific symptoms like fever, muscle aches, vomiting, but also, it could affect the breathing system, so the respiratory system, where people then may have respiratory distress, but also they could have headaches and then go on to have, confusion, and some patients may go into coma. And that's the one that is really worrisome when, because it affects the brain also, then they can have seizures as well. And so that.
Oh, well. It's in severe cases, but you know what? Would that be more like the goddamn, I can't speak English today. Whatever.
Those are the severe forms of the illness. But some people don't have any symptoms. Some people can be asymptomatic.
Man, okay. And you said the fatality rate can be like 40 to 70% here. So what do we know about the outbreak? Officials in Asia are saying they contain this thing for now?
So what we know so far is there have been 2 confirmed cases. There might be 3 other ones, but 2 confirmed cases, and both of them were healthcare workers who took care of a patient who's passed away. But that patient was not tested. Cases. There might be 3 other ones, but 2
thing for now.
Hold on, I was talking.
So what we know so far is there have been 2 confirmed cases. There might be 3 other ones, but 2 confirmed cases, and both of them were healthcare workers who took care of a patient who's passed away. But that patient was not tested. One of these 2 confirmed cases is critically ill right now, but there have been almost 200 contacts that have been found. Those contacts have been followed. They currently have no symptoms, and they've all tested negative so far.
Okay.
So, so that's reassuring.
Okay. As I'm listening to you, I think myself and a lot of people might be triggered by those first days of COVID where, we knew of a single person here and another individual there. Does this have the potential for, we lived through news about going way back, SARS, of course, COVID. How how at risk are we right now for the potential for any kind of global type outbreak?
So I think it's less likelihood this would spread at an international rate, or like a pandemic that we have with COVID. So one person would infect less than one person. So there's a number we look at, a primary infection. How many people can a primary infection spread to? And the number is less than one. The education that is going on right now around the world has made people aware. The health ministry in India.
No shit. This is happening at a very convenient time. Because 2 weeks ago we withdrew from the World Health Organization. There went a bunch of money for them. Interesting.
Has gone on top of this to trace all the possible contacts and quarantine them and tested them, and currently no symptoms. So I think it's unlikely.
Bro, the World Health Organization's been around since 1948.
To spread at an international level.
Okay, that's reassuring to hear. Dr. Dami Adeyemi, thank you for your time this morning.
Interesting timing. Always that way.
Get instant news and information.
Flowers are sent. Now let's access the online travel service.
How long have you had this?
About a week. Plane tickets are ordered. Now, let's look up dinosaurs. What do you think? Compton's Encyclopedia or National Geographic?
You get all that with America Online?
Yeah, you can read Business Week online before it hits the newsstand. I can even send email on the internet. And of course, there's my personal favorite, live chat. That's how I met my new kayaking buddies. We'll check that out later, after the game.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. Just a reminder that President Trump started his political career by telling all of us that Bill Clinton committed crimes with young women on Epstein Island.
Bill
Listen
Clinton.
to this from 2015.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous.
The more I listen to these guys, he brought it up. He was one of the first to bring it up publicly. Would he really do that knowing that he was there? Knowing that it'll eventually catch up to him? And it looks like they're trying to get rid of him pretty much if you look through the files. Because Epstein did not like Donnie.
Island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
Nobody even knew Jeffrey Epstein was not a household name.
But if he still
President
is,
Trump seeding the story for the first time in the mainstream, and then
big, beautiful gold wood chipper. That would be awesome. I mean, if he, you know what I mean.
Donald Trump went on to say that Prince Andrew also did the same thing.
The question of Jeffrey Epstein in your
Listen to
remarks
this.
in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool.
President Trump's been proven so right.
All this was a QAnon conspiracy. All of this was supposed to be a QAnon conspiracy.
On this point, and nobody's ever asked Bill Clinton about it at all. Now the Clintons are liable to potentially be the ones arrested for the Jeffrey Epstein crimes, given the fact that they refuse to answer any questions about it. This is the only time that Bill or Hillary Clinton ever fielded any questions about Jeffrey Epstein.
Any comments on the alleged allegation of your connection with Jeffrey Epstein? No.
Oh, wow. Handler. Secret Service handler.
I think the evidence is
Wow.
clear, he says, as he looks back at the young questioner, almost like, yeah, Putty, you're going to find yourself in federal lockup too, listening to Hillary Clinton's heels coming down the hallways, twisting and tightening the rope. It's going to be you next. There's a dude who got up and asked Hillary Clinton about this at a public rally.
We know who
Get
this
up
is.
every day. Hey, Hillary, why'd your husband visit Epstein Island 26 times?
I remember it was amazing watching.
For having the temerity to ask about Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein. He was swarmed by security, had his shirt ripped off, was dragged out of the event. by 5 or 6
I can't
security
remember.
guards. This is what
Maybe don't
happens when you
remember
ask
his
the
name.
Clintons about Epstein. And there's a reason why they don't want you to know about the Clintons and Epstein, as has been recorded many, many times here. Like, for instance, in the leaked Project Veritas tape, you have one of the most renowned female reporters in all of America at the time, Amy Rohrbach, saying, we have Clinton, we have everybody, we have them all, we have Prince Andrew, is because that's where the actual scandal is. The Clintons are the ones who are going to go to jail for this, not President Trump. Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, that as hard as they tried to make this all about Donald Trump, it actually is about Bill Clinton. The DOJ released 3 million Epstein files today. Trump has threatened to sue those who lied about him, and he probably will end up winning that suit because, as you can see in the emails, there is not only is Trump exonerated by Epstein himself, he never got a massage, he never did anything wrong. That's what Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell said. This is, of course, like Jeffrey Epstein saying this before he was in penitentiary, before he was locked up, before he knew what was going to happen to him. And Donald Trump now saying that he's going to sue Michael Wolff, an author who straight up is in these emails talking about colluding about how they were going to smear Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein lies. And that's what you actually do find in the files. You find lies about Donald Trump that the authorities deem as totally uncredible, sent in by people who had psychiatric problems. But nonetheless, I want to be fair and cover the fact that Trump's name does appear. You can go look at the documents yourself and you can make your own assessment. But that's what the feds assessed. That's what the DOJ has assessed. Nonetheless, the Bill Clinton story here is quite different. Here's Bill Clinton with victims, scantily clad victims, swimming in a pool with Ghislaine Maxwell. Here's him in a Spy Who Shagged Me shirt with Jeffrey Epstein. They're out with young women. Bill Clinton with young women, more young women, Michael Jackson and young kids. Bill Clinton with young women on the plane, more young women on the plane. Bill Clinton with young women sitting in his lap on the plane. These are the photos in the Clinton file. You won't find any photos like these in the Trump file. Nonetheless, what you're going to find is that Clinton has so much more to hide. And maybe that's why, and Bill Gates, of course, and Prince Andrew got it. Jeffrey Epstein says Bill Gates got STDs from the Russian hookers that he procured for her. And now there are more photos of Bill Clinton out and more photos of Prince Andrew, and they are career ending. Bill Clinton stuffing his face on the Lolita Express.
I kind of feel like at first Bill Gates was using Jeffrey Epstein to get into the community so he can hobnob and start blackmailing these other people so they can do what Bill Gates wanted to do. And then eventually he fucked up. He fucked up and Epstein's like, I got you. Now I got you. Now you're my bitch too.
Here you can see with victim with her face blurred. All the victims have their faces blurred in this. So here's Bill Clinton shoving his face full of cake on the Lolita Express in new photographs from the DOJ. Bill Clinton again. Here's Ghislaine Maxwell sitting here taking photos. There's a little puppy too. Very creepy. It's got to be members of Bill Clinton, perhaps staff or security there. You can see Bill Gates again. Bill Gates' marriage destroyed. Apparently, he tried to sneak his wife medicine after getting an STD from the Russians that were procured by Jeffrey Epstein. Bill Gates got it really bad. And now you can sort of see some of these major problems. You have a victim here in Times Square. Here's a victim. It's got to be at least wearing no clothes here. Victim laying down in the reclining on the plane. There were explicit pictures that were accidentally released. They said they were going to blur all of this. And you can sort of see what life was like here at the black boxes, obviously, is where sexually explicit things are going on. Skulls and bones. What were these? Apparently they were part of a Aztec cave in a Central American country. But nonetheless, Bill Clinton all over the place. Jeffrey Epstein with what looks like a very young individual on the plane, framed with a young girl. And then here's Prince Andrews. Goodness gracious. Prince Andrews on all four over a female. You can see here. This is, of course, a man who is in the victim is.
All right. Hold on a second.
What do you think?
It looks like the closer and closer we get to Iran deciding to kill all its, protesters, which I don't understand why people in the United States think, oh, they're bad. They're violating our First Amendments. Yo, they're literally locking motherfuckers up and mass killing these motherfuckers, even though they're telling you they're not. But we'll talk to them. We'll listen. Learn something.
The consequences would be if there was a full-on military confrontation between Iran and the United States? Because I know your military has changed its doctrine, that if there is a major attack, it would be considered existential for the Islamic Republic. What would that mean for the region here?
If war starts, that would be a disaster for everybody. In the previous war, we tried hard to limit the scope of war between Iran and Israel. This time, if it is between Iran and the US, since the US bases are spread all over the region, then inevitably, many parts of the region would be involved, engaged, and that could be very dangerous. Our missiles were tested in a real war last time, and we were able to, understand their problems, their weak points, and their strengths. So we learned many lessons from those 12 days of war.
Yeah,
and I think we are now very well prepared. But again, being prepared doesn't mean that we want war. We want to prevent a war.
President Trump said he's also concerned about the rights of those who are in custody. As you know, he said that he believes that he prevented hangings from taking place here in Iran. Can you guarantee the rights of those who have been detained and whose cases are being looked into right now?
Of course. First of all, there was no plan for executions or
hangings. You got a little smile on
so there were no plan as such. And right now, I can, affirm that the right of each and every person who is arrested and detained would be observed and guaranteed.
All right, for more.
I don't believe them. I don't. The protesters aren't really protesting, or they don't know what they're protesting. They're just out there, for shits and giggles. And they'll attack anybody. Even reporters. Reporters because it's a local Fox station.
Trump is a rapist! He's a rapist! He's in the Epstein file! He's a rapist! Trump is a rapist! Fox News is fake news!
Wait, if Trump's racist, why is he trying to unite the Arab world? That would be a little weird to me.
Trump rapes little children! Trump rapes little children! Yeah, put up show. Trump rapes little children! Fox News is owned by Israel!
And look, the police are right there. All those police.
What are we doing? Fox News right there. Fox News comes down here. Fox News!
He's a brown man, too.
You gotta understand that, you aren't safe here. Look out of here.
The craziest thing to watch is at these ICE protests is if there's a minority, Hispanic,
a few years
they're
back,
like,
I made
they want to yell at them. Like, you're here protesting for them? What if they were a green card holder, right? What if they're... I don't know why I pivoted to this one real quick. Told you some of the stuff I just put together because I wanted to watch later, and I didn't feel like putting them in order.
In a video titled "Some Gay Men Deserve to Be Hated," and before anybody tries to cry at me, those two men in that video are in jail, and they're going to stay in jail for a long time because their definition of love for children is what the rest of us would call criminal acts committed against children.
This Walton County couple is now behind bars, accused of an unthinkable
They
crime.
adopted them.
Police say they their two adopted children
I remember this.
and videotaped it.
Georgia.
The county, the GBI,
But
and
that's not what this
DFACS
is
now
about.
all investigating that couple as they try to find those children a new home. Channel 2's Veronica Griffin live at the Walton County Sheriff's Office. Veronica, those two men are being held in different places.
That's right. One of the fathers is being held here at the Walton County Jail. The other father at nearby Barrow County. Investigators tell us they're keeping them apart while they continue to sort things out. Do not enter, property of the Walton County Sheriff's Department. This sign is now posted on the front door of this home on St. Regis Way in Walton County. It's where detectives say this couple, William and Zachary Zulak, used their two adoptive sibling children and videotaped it.
We didn't really like it, but as far as we read, it was isolated, so wasn't really something that we're concerned about, but
it should be.
not good.
Neighbor Austin Potts tells me he learned about the arrest on Facebook.
We have a community watch on the road here, and they had posted about it and read the details and found out about what happened.
According to jail records, the couple were booked and charged with aggravated child and sexual exploitation of children. The siblings were removed from the home by DFACS.
It's very unusual for this area. It's usually a very quiet area, not a lot of that kind of stuff going on that we know of.
Apparently someone knew. The GBI received a tip that a third suspect was downloading child about 15 miles away in unincorporated Loganville. We're told that person led detectives to this home.
That's not tolerated around here, and, you know, it's a good thing the police got it.
But be that as it may, I love this idea in some people's heads that they could bring a child into a household that's filled with a lot of darkness. And it doesn't matter if it's gay couples, lesbian couples, straight couples. It could happen in any regard at any given time because we have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. And it's funny when you come into a scenario where you just will wake up and see something that will just instill in you that belief that there needs to be more background checks that are done thoroughly in making sure that a child is going to a home that is safe and not just possibly a den for a child to be violated. Because what do you mean that I have to sit here and imagine a scenario where I am in a committed gay relationship and maybe I am thinking about the idea of having a child, but because I'm in a relationship with a man and I can only fucking ass, I can't necessarily create life, so I would have to adopt. And as I'm going through the process of adopting a child, a literal child who is 9 years old, I see my lover going viral for not anything good, but because they're just creating acts of self-pleasure to 3-year-olds.
Yeah,
I'm not officially adopting him. My boyfriend is.
Your boyfriend's adopting him. How old's your boyfriend?
Are you recording me?
On there.
Wait, who is that? You hear that voice? It's a weird voice. Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
He's 25.
Okay. Is he aware of the stuff you watch? No. Okay. So, what's the youngest age you've?
I don't know.
Tell me the truth, man. What did it look like?
He was a young kid.
How old what did he look?
Probably like 3.
3. And how old's the guy y'all are trying to adopt? The kid you're trying to adopt?
9.
He's 9. So you told me that on Telegram you've received videos of 3 to 10-year-olds, and you're trying to adopt probably an abused 9-year-old boy. You kidding me? Okay. Well, that's that's not happening now, right? That's over.
Am I going to jail?
I don't know about that, but he's not going to be in this house anymore. I'm going to make sure of that.
I'll leave. Don't do that, please. I'll leave, please. I will leave. Like, please don't do that to him. He does not need that. He does not deserve that. I will go. Please don't
He's living with a...
do that to him, please.
Call the cops on this motherfucker.
Please, guys, what?
You absolutely cannot for the life of me watch that and not have it click in your brain that that lover who is the boyfriend, who is also the one trying to adopt a child, isn't also someone to be suspect about. Because how do you go through an entire relationship where you are moved in with somebody and you live with them to the point where you're conversating about adopting a child and bringing someone into that home and not knowing what they got in their spank bank? It is impossible to not know about that when you live with somebody, because the evidence and the guilt will be riddled all over the face and a little bit of dryness on the bedsheet. You will be able to spot how someone truly tends to operate when it comes to pleasure of the flesh. You will see the patterns and you will recognize how they move and operate. You can't convince me that you just lived with somebody who was rubbing it down to children and you just didn't know about it. And it leads to that conversation of people not being able to be trusted, because how do you think it's gonna go when you are found out as somebody who's loving it up with children on a screen to the point where you got images from different apps and you're sharing it around, and you have somebody trying to bring in a child 6 years apart from your horny demographic into the fold? I'm sorry, but not a lot of people are going to have confidence that their child.
Forgot his take on that. It happens a lot more than he thinks.
The difference between anti-ICE activists and ICE is getting horrifyingly smaller, as after they use secret encrypted chats to train, plan, and attack US forces, they're now recruiting kids to walk out of classes and march on their behalf. In California, what looks to be teenagers are taking the streets, but in New York City, it looks like they're brainwashing their preschoolers.
My name is Dr. Canton. I am the director here at the Chloe Day School here in Harlem, New York. As today...
Yo, I think Big Bad Wolf was talking about this morning. I'll be damned if my kids were participating in something like this. And they're kids. And they were teaching them all these fucking chants. And some of them were letting their kids come out holding signs. Pretending, and you know what? Pretty sure he talks about it.
Today is a national day of protest. It's too cold outside for us to go outside and protest. Our teachers cannot walk off the job and leave our children unsupervised. So today, we decided in solidarity, we will support all those who are out protesting against the violence that we see and the harm that we see happening to our friends. What do we want to say? Stop.
This is indoctrination. This is indoctrination. They shouldn't be teaching that to the kids. They should teach them how to read. Teach them how to write. Not teach them activism. That's not your job. And you should be fired. And everybody in that room should be fired.
Right. What do we want to tell people?
And all the way back to San Francisco, they're doing the same.
Choose kindness!
Where it appears they even escorted these kids to march out in the streets.
That's gotta be illegal.
Every single parent seeing this should immediately take their kid out of that school and sue them for endangering them, as the adult-to-student ratio looks something like 20-1. Now in a closed classroom setting, that's perfectly fine, but marching alongside the street on behalf of a movement the kids will have absolutely zero impact over is so insanely dangerous and meaningless, I imagine that school loses its insurance tomorrow. As best case, they capture some footage to gain clout for the adults' social media accounts. Worst case, a couple kids wander off in the chaos and get run over. And over in LA, that's exactly what these students are asking for, sprinting out into the streets to stop ICE. And back east, it's even worse, as they straight block these icy streets. Now, at least in Georgia, when the kids tried to leave, they were marched right back into class. But in other parts of the state, they're nearly being run over. As homeschooling has never looked smarter, but even school choice is equally important, where in some states, your kid can either be forced into a classroom to receive an education, or be used as a useful pawn for activist adults that are willing to sacrifice your kid for their amusement. I meant movement, but then again, both are applicable. As watching the walkout over in Stockton, California, somebody called out the school for doing this while having a 0% math proficiency, which is actually not an exaggeration. Just over 1/3 of their students graduate. Only 1/4 of them can read, while 0/5 of them can understand those fractions.
I wonder, you know what his fucked up part is? People say teachers need to get paid more, but teachers aren't being productive. They're not teaching them anything. You can see they're teaching activism. You don't need to know how to do math. We're just going to give you the money, or we're just going to give you everything you need to know. All right? We'll give you everything, but you'll own nothing. So you're good. You're good.
Meanwhile, the tax ban asks for more money for education, but they're not teaching the kids math or anything really, just how to be an activist. And when only 26% of them know how to read, it makes sense why it's so easy to get them to blindly run into the streets. Which finally brings me to why I said anti-ICE activists are becoming like ISIS, as I think they're only putting the kids out front because they want something to happen to them. Even though they deny it, we know these protests are actually riots. Local police are getting increasingly more aggressive with them, which is confirmed to be part of their plan so they can create flashpoint moments to rally about later. They tried to get it with that bunny ears hoax that was quickly debunked, but now all they got is a second idiot that might lose his eye, with someone claiming they were pregnant while getting pepper bowled in the stomach. And why would you go to a riot while carrying a baby? The same reason you would take a class of preschoolers to protest in the streets. You're a terrible person. You belong in prison, and the kids need to be taken away for their safety. But unfortunately, the left has gone so insane they'll never call out their comrades on this. As over in Portland, the rioters got blasted with tear gas.
That looked like LA.
And some poor kid got doused with it. And even when the story got posted to Reddit to over 3,000 upvotes, the top post wasn't "Stop doing this," it was "What to do when you inevitably get gassed." Once again proving her getting sprayed wasn't an accident, but part of their plan, that they're almost hoping to happen again as human sacrifice has become a core tenet of accomplishing their agenda. But police involvement in their injuries is rare. The bigger danger to these student protests are the other students. Weeks ago, the walkout in Minneapolis resulted in mass brawls between students. And back in the riots in LA in February, the schools also allowed the students to walk out, where tragically, a stabbing occurred, as the one kid ended up in critical condition, all in an effort to march against Trump's deportation plan. Why wasn't this gaining national media attention? Liberal school district marches the kids against Trump only for attempted murder to get swept under the rug. It didn't stop a single deportation, but oh well, almost 1 year to the day, let the schools try again, except this time with preschoolers. I think every adult involved in allowing this needs to be arrested by the feds. It sounds extreme, but what's the alternative? Waiting patiently until a kid does pay the price for these actually evil activist adults? As if they're actually successful in getting their human sacrifice, no matter what the actual circumstances are, the left will ignore all the inconvenient information and just say, this is Trump's fault. So
I mean, that's the easy answer, right?
Another ice train already so belongs to the American dream. These poor illegals get deported and now all I can do is scream. Trump's gonna ruin all the voters that the Democrat Party made. Say goodbye to all the illegals and farewell to all my insider trades. Just another MAGA ice day. Wish it were Pride Day. Or or even George Floyd Day. I better start to drink day. Just another MAGA, I say. Have to free illegals and make sure they stay out this time. Just because you break the law doesn't mean that you've committed a crime.
Right?
The ICE agents are racist and they're on Epstein's client list too. Illegals are above the law and there's nothing that I can do. Just another MAGA ICE day. Oh, wish it were Pride Day. Or impeach Donald Trump Day. Can someone start a riot day?
Oh.
Just another MAGA.
Alright, sorry. Woo! Had to get that little bit of humor break up. Now this is Portland, not yesterday, but the day before. This is like the third day of like intense rioting. And a couple days ago, they tried to tear it down, the wood paneling. They tried to tear the gates down. Nobody was giving a fuck about that blue line. And then obviously they keep pushing the issue, and this was 2 days ago. Oh, we're getting gas. Use a leaf blower. Use a leaf blower, guys. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When they give you smoke grenades, CS canisters, and they're like, you know what? Use them, guys. I'll tell you what. Throwing grenades like that is fun. Fun as fuck. I think they're thinking twice about picking those things up at first. Now they're just going to kick them. Bro, what would happen if someone kicked a flashbang and they lost a foot? You know they're not going to run away. These protesters, at least they're being really, really nice to these protesters, because they can really incapacitate them, and they'll hate life, and they won't even have to leave the compound. Right. And not one shot will be fired. The good thing is if you have a sign and stuff, that'll clear it out. And they're using a lot of gas. Why does Dane fuck you? You're the one that has to back up. think they do this occasionally so they can get more money, get more updated gas canisters. Like, oh, we got a new shipment in. Let's use them. Which, when it's arranged, you got an extra, I don't know, 500. Just everybody load up magazines and put that shit on full auto. Send that shit down range, bro. Leaf blowers, this is wild. Portland, that's Portland for you. Ooh. Oh God. Oh God. So some of the names that I would not have expected to see on this, these Epstein files would be family members of mayors. One of the mayors in the United States, his mother has been seen with Epstein. Weird. Whose mother would that be? Tell you in a second. Now there's a rumor running around. Because you know how fucking, what's his name, was supposed to be Castro's kid? I can't remember that fucker's name in Canada. Who cares? But this guy is kind of following in the, hey, that could be Epstein's kid. Right? Right? What do I mean by that? What mayor are we talking about? Nope. Oh.
That's right, we know about your mom. Now listen, we was with you, Zoran, we voted for you, Zoran, we advocated for you, Zoran, we advocated for
Zoran?
You ain't getting up and get up in there and lie to us. You lied, Zoran.
Uh-oh.
Shame! Shame!
Uh-oh.
The first line was 6 Zoran. Shame!
Uh-oh, the people they were trying to use as pawns are like, wait a minute. Careful. Careful. Sometimes it comes back to bite you.
Shame!
Talking about his mother.
We're going to go to CNN. The latest release of the Epstein files contains more than 3 million pages of material. It includes references to Donald Trump, among other notable and powerful men. Joining me live now is CNN reporter Julia Benbrook. Julia,
that's how you did it.
Wow, getting through this is going to take some time, and this is not the end of the Epstein files either.
A lot of documents here. This is the largest release that we've seen, more than 3 million pages of materials, and among those, more than 182,000 photos and videos. We did hear from Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who said the Justice Department has completed its review of the files related to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, and that the White House did not have oversight of this process. He spoke with CNN's Dana Bash earlier today, and Blanche acknowledged the disturbing nature of much of what is in these files, but said that none of it met the threshold for a prosecution. So as of right now, don't expect any more action in that specific way. Now, there are mentions of a lot of high-profile names throughout this, and that's not a surprise. We know that Epstein ran in those circles. A review of these recent documents found that Trump was mentioned more than 1,000 times and in various different ways. It's important to note that He has denied any wrongdoing related to Epstein and has not been accused by law enforcement of involvement.
Have you guys actually looked how many times his name's in there? Yeah. Have you read the context? Probably not. Like I said, you go onto the website and put in the search bar or Trump, you'll see every time he's mentioned.
In Epstein's crimes. Now, as we are seeing these documents, we need to take a step back as to how we got to see these documents. And it was a bipartisan effort on Capitol Hill, led by Democrat Ro Khanna and Republican Thomas Massie. They forced a vote that then led to almost unanimous support, and then Trump ultimately did sign it into law after saying that he didn't think this was a necessary step to make all of these things public. And those two lawmakers that I mentioned, they have said that this release is significant, but that it's not enough, that they're not.
You guys remember how they say there's names and people in there that, you know, possibly that could be affected that had nothing to do with it? Is that supposed to work still? I don't think so.
Satisfied with everything that they've received, and they take a couple issues with how this played out. Some of the deadlines that were given to the Department of Justice were missed, and then on top of that, they are questioning why some things were redacted and left out, also questioning how some of the names were not redacted, things that should have been taken care of. So they are requesting some more information from Blanche. Blanche has said that he is open to having.
So let me rewind that. I just lost my train of thought.
Requesting some more information from Blanche. Blanche has said that he is open to having those conversations.
Thanks so much for the update. And that is not the last of the Epstein files, as I mentioned live there with CNN's Julia Benbrook.
Again, it's been 6 years now?
Welcome to California.
6 years now? Oh, I wonder if Angela's still here. We'll do this last one if I'm going to do it anyway. For those that live in California, just to let you know, Nick Shirley's on ground and James O'Keefe's got people on the ground already. California's about to get fun because now the feds are going to come right back in.
California, the homeless capital of America, nearly 200,000 homeless people reside in the Golden State.
It's way worse than Minnesota. This was bought with taxpayer dollars.
Obvious fraud. What the hell is going on?
Mayor Bass needs Skid Row for her to get federal money, but the reality is we could fix this if we wanted.
I can't believe it. I can't believe that never occurred to me.
Welcome to California.
We just had a whistleblower from inside of the homeless industrial complex.
So you believe homeless shelters are being used by illegal aliens?
So they're rallying protesters to come and surround us.
This is what LA looks like everywhere. Not just this street, every underpass, every ditch, every overpass, every single intersection looks just like this. You have been lied to. Gavin Newsom, the governor of this state, says that homelessness is down, that he's fixed homelessness, and he's setting records to make the state better. This is a lie. Here's a police officer who is trying desperately to engage with these homeless.
I've seen that specific trailer in a few videos over the past few years.
Drug users in their filthy hovels that seem like they've been here for years. This is a choice by the leadership of California to allow this, your neighborhoods. The politicians are handcuffing the police officers, not allowing them to enforce the law. They're choosing this because people have businesses here. Look, people live here. Why would they allow this? Why are those officers helpless? Because of Gavin Newsom and the Democrats in California. And in this video, we're going to unpack all of it. We're going to prove why the Democrats want to continue the homeless industrial complex. The billions of dollars spent in this state, $24 billion spent on homelessness. It's $170,000 per homeless person.
spent in this state. Look at that. That's a guy's house right there. You live right there. You're moving because you can't take all the homeless?
Yeah.
Your children live here?
Yeah, it's not passed for the street.
Oh, of course not. It's not safe. Look at that barbed wire. You're living in a war zone. This is all about trafficking in human misery. Look at this. So that's what we are going to be investigating in this video. The homeless industrial complex that feeds the Democrat Party and their donors in this state, and why they never want to solve any problem like that.
They might want to do the same thing.
Join us for this ride. It's going to be a wild one. Here we go. California has poured $31 billion of state and federal tax dollars into fighting homelessness over the past few years. That adds up to $170,000 per homeless person. For perspective, that's more than the median price of a home in West Virginia. That's more than the total GDP of 91 different countries. So what's the result of this astronomical spending? Homelessness skyrocketed in California. They added 30,000 new homeless people. We decided to head to Venice Beach to talk to actual homeless people to see if they've received any of the $170,000 that Gavin Newsom has spent on them. Listen to this. We're here on Venice Beach, one of the most famous beaches in the world, and it is absolutely disgusting. It smells like piss and weed everywhere that you go, and there's homeless people everywhere. Let's go talk with some of them and ask, has Gavin Newsom done anything for you exactly? Nothing. So have you guys seen any of that money? Has anybody...
No.
I got nothing. I'm still right here.
Yeah, I didn't know there was that much money in it.
For $170,000, they could easily build longhouses with 50 to 100 hammocks in each one.
Have you seen any of that money?
No.
$170,000. Have you ever gotten any payment?
Get payment for what?
Yeah, exactly.
Trump said they're going to find out to see where's the money going.
There are 683 homeless nonprofits in California, over $1 billion in annual revenue. This is a massive industry. Take, for example, PATH, People Assisting the Homeless. This is a major California-based nonprofit focused on ending homelessness. According to their IRS 990 forms, PATH has a total revenue of $181 million. That's grown exponentially in the past few years. It's up 13% year over year. PATH spent $70 million on salaries and benefits alone in the past year. The CEO made over $300,000 this year. Man, you can really put a roof over your head in the homeless industrial complex. And hundreds of millions of dollars that California is spending on homelessness is going to fraud. Here's a report from just last week. $23 million gone.
This man was contracted with the city and county of Los Angeles to house and feed up to 600 homeless people, but instead he was misusing tens of millions of dollars to live a luxurious life. The feds say Sucre defrauded the city and county of LA out of $23 million in taxpayer dollars for not only his mansion and car, but a second home in Greece, luxury vacations, designer clothes, and private schools.
Welcome to the world headquarters of Shane.
Wait, he has a home in Greece? Wow.
Shangri-La Industries, a company that defrauded the state of California of tens of millions of dollars, saying that they would assist with the homeless when they can't even assist with the homeless directly outside of their world headquarters. They promised the state of California they'd build hundreds of units of affordable housing by converting old motels into homeless shelters. What did they end up doing? Stealing that money. Tens of millions of it went to pay for luxury goods, shopping sprees, expensive cars. It went to credit cards for Cody Holmes, who has now been arrested and indicted by the feds for wire fraud. And that's just one example. There's a lot more. Let's go. Welcome to the Weingart Center, a nonprofit that takes hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars from the people of California and delivers homeless skyscrapers at a cost of $800,000 per unit, including lavish amenities like gyms, cafes, dog parks, city views, and art studios. The homeless in California live better than you do. The Weingart Center is at the heart of a federal investigation into fraud overpayment on properties for homeless shelters. A real estate developer bought a former senior facility for $11 million using a fraudulent loan. And then they sold it to the Weingart Center for $27 million the same week. That's a $16 million profit, leading to their CEO and real estate director to be placed on leave. The absolute hellscape that is downtown Los Angeles. Drive through it. For every one open store, there are 10 that are closed, and that's because the homeless industrial...
When I keep saying, but wait, when he eventually says it, like, there it is. There it is. All right. So I'll just stop saying, but wait.
Complex has hollowed out downtown LA. There's literally nothing left. Some of these beautiful buildings, old theaters, some of the gorgeous architecture you've ever seen left to rot and be graffitied, and that's because of fraud like the homeless industrial complex provides. For instance, Urban Alchemy is one of the nonprofits that gets hundreds of millions of dollars from the California taxpayer. Urban Alchemy promised the city of LA that if they gave them millions of dollars, they would be building beds for homeless people. Let's go ahead and check in.
Just wait. Just wait.
On that project, which a recent judge just called obvious fraud. Let's go.
The group received $3 million in taxpayer funds to a safe sleep village and parking lot that's filled with tents.
Welcome to the famous parking lot homeless shelter, where the city of Los Angeles was billed $200 per night for homeless individuals to sleep in a tent. By the way, half of the beds that they were promised were not built. A judge said this is obvious fraud, and at a charge of $5,600 per month per person in a tent, one of the most expensive rents in all of LA.
We are heading now to go see Steve Hilton. He is a Republican candidate for governor. He's doing great in the polls. And he has a location to show us that he says is the monument to homelessness fraud in LA. It is a abandoned motel that is supposed to be a homeless shelter. And it was purchased for $20 million. Nothing's apparently been done on it. It's still like an ongoing construction site. So we're gonna go talk to Steve Hilton and see what we can find out. Let's go.
It's my boy, Steve Hilton. Here we go. Great to meet up with you.
Welcome to California.
Like, we didn't even plan this. We're here for something totally different, but there's
just a lovely neighborhood scene to greet you, Benny.
Team gave me this breakdown.
Unbelievable.
Billions and billions of dollars.
Well, it's going to get real interesting.
The whistleblower accounts that we had to identify the kind of areas to look into.
So you say that it could potentially be an estimated $425 billion worth of exposure.
And again, we're just finding...
You know Nick Shirley's going to get this list.
So you can just about make out there, up there.
Okay.
You can see Ramada.
Right.
Scrubbed out.
Why don't we just go in?
Let's see what's happening.
This was bought with taxpayer dollars. Yeah. Millions and millions and millions of them, and this was...
Angela, I'm going to tell you right now, when it gets to that point that I'm saying wait for, you're going to explode.
Supposed to be done and opened in 2025.
They claimed that people were here. The whole world of crony developers that get the money. They give political donations to Newsom and all the politicians.
I'm sorry, what?
It is totally corrupt.
But that's not it.
State and corruption. That is what this is all about.
Because you didn't hear it.
They give political donations to Newsom and all the politicians. It is totally corrupt. Welfare state and corruption. That is what this is all about.
Goodness gracious.
Still not it.
I can't believe that this construction project has been going on for 6 years, and there's nothing's been done. How is this a $20 million construction project?
And again, that's what we know about. That's what they admit to.
And we pulled their 990s from the IRS.
Right.
They spent $200 million last year. So it's federal HUD money that's going to this.
The scale of the money in California, it just...
HUD, federal HUD? That means we're all paying for this. But it gets worse.
Dwarfs anything in Minnesota, and it's everyone who's watching. It's your money.
We are headed to chat with Sheriff Bianco, who is going to be meeting us in a really dangerous part of LA. Now, luckily, he's got a security team, and he's been fighting homelessness his entire life here in California. He's the single most popular sheriff in the state of California. He wants to be governor. He's doing great in the polls. He says he has a solution to fix California, Los Angeles, and to solve homelessness in 4 years or less.
We are here with Sheriff Bianco, who is the #1 leading candidate in the California gubernatorial race right now, out on the streets with us. Here, this beautiful
You look like a
scenic LA street.
no-nonsense fucking sheriff.
It is. Welcome to Los Angeles.
Got
Every
that
street you
mustache.
go on, you're going to find this. But the reality is this. We could fix this if we wanted. I've talked to a couple of the guys here. Morning. This is their life. This is where they live. The one gentleman that I spoke with this morning has been here for 20 years.
20 years on this street?
20 years. 20 years downtown here in downtown Los Angeles homeless. Because we know there are billions of dollars of help out there.
Yes.
So why are we allowing this on the sides of our freeways, on our off-ramps? These are houses here. These are residential houses that have...
It's someone's business. Someone's trying to do business there.
This is a residential street. This is the reality of big cities in California that are completely mismanaged when you have so much money that it is easy to hide the waste, the fraud, and the abuse. And thank God that Minnesota happened. Thank God that Nick Shirley did that with what he did. Because what I thought was interesting is the day after Nick did that, social media all over started saying, yeah, but what about California?
Yeah.
California's got to be worse. And I was sitting there saying, yeah, it's way worse.
And that's what Nick
bring it
said.
on. How are you? What's your name?
Greg.
Greg, good to meet you, Greg.
Can we ask you a quick question? $24 billion has been spent on homelessness. That's $170,000 per homeless person. Have you ever seen any of that money?
Would you like it?
Yeah, I love it.
How long have you been down here?
3 years.
A couple years?
Yeah.
Are you from Los Angeles or did you come from somewhere else?
Los Angeles.
If I created an environment where I could offer you a living facility to come get off drugs, get your life straight, get you some job training, and get you back out into the world, would you accept that? Would you be up for that?
Yeah. Yes. Good.
Yeah. Keep your head up and keep going where you're going, and appreciate you talking to me.
You just walk by and engage with more homeless people than I've ever seen Gavin Newsom engage with.
Our politicians only come down here for
photo op.
political shoots. There's no way Gavin Newsom would ever walk and talk up to some random homeless person. I've been doing this for 32 years. A homeless person doesn't scare me. A criminal doesn't scare me. They're just people. They don't care about these people.
That walk right there, the sheriff just did more for homeless people than Gavin Newsom has ever done in that walk right there. In the middle of our interview with Sheriff Bianco, we had a whistleblower reach out with bombshell evidence from the top levels of a homeless industrial complex nonprofit located in California. We confirmed their identity and confirmed their information, and what they told us was shocking. They told us that the homeless industrial complex isn't there to help out homeless people at all. We're missing the whole point. Here it is. I just want to say thank you for this tip. So you believe or you know that the homeless shelters are being used by illegal aliens?
No.
What percentage?
50%, 60%.
Do they ask for any type of documentation or proof when you go in there?
They only ask for, like, if they have a passport or an ID.
You say that the shelters for the homeless are being used by up to 60% illegal aliens, and that they're able to just stay there and live for free and get everything that they need.
Yeah, they stay from like a year and a half.
Interesting.
Stuff like that. Sometimes it's like an entire family. It's gonna sound crazy. One of the shelters, this Russian family, they're driving a brand new BMW.
This is unbelievable. You see other luxury items like cell phones and stuff?
Oh yeah, everybody has new stuff. They're dressed well. If you see any of these people on the streets, you can't tell they're homeless at all. At all.
Unbelievable.
This other family, they came from Florida, because of course, you know, things are getting harder over there for illegal immigrants in Florida. So they say, oh, come to California, because everything is free. They'll give you anything. So just come down over here.
You said if they have a criminal history, it doesn't matter?
Well, of course, they'll get them, yeah.
Wow. So do you not let the police in?
After the whole ICE thing all over the place, they place signs everywhere that private property, they close the gates, they lock everything down.
What these are like extrajudicial embassies for criminal aliens, illegal and then potentially criminal, where they get to live for free on the taxpayer dollars and be protected
While the homeless
from
is on
federal
the
agents
streets.
and police.
Basically.
Wow. You just blew the lid off everything. That's unbelievable.
So they're rallying protesters to come and surround us. We are not going to get help from LAPD. This is the reality of Los Angeles.
I can't. This is crazy. So they're coming. So they're like staging a mob, and the police say they're not going to help us.
Yes.
so we got to go. We had to get out of this area fast before the anti-ICE protesters got to us. We didn't want a Minnesota scenario happening, so we hopped in our car and processed what we just learned from our whistleblower.
Our whistleblower just blew the doors off the whole California homeless industrial complex. Is it a front for smuggling criminal aliens into California using federal dollars? The whistleblower says 60% of California's homeless facilities are just free housing for illegals that drive luxury cars and live lavish lifestyles, and that the well-guarded homeless shelters are actually designed to keep out federal agents who would deport these illegals, and we're all paying for it. Could this be true? The answer is yes. California law makes it a crime for a homeless shelter to even ask for citizenship status. You're likely to lose all funding if you do, but it gets even worse. A recently scrubbed article from the Weingart Center, remember the homeless skyscrapers, explains the operation further. Thousands of migrants get bused to cities like Los Angeles without properly planned housing. Migrants experiencing homelessness can be blocked from accessing housing, healthcare, food programs, and other forms of support. The Weingart Center offers housing assistance along with comprehensive services such as healthcare, advocacy, and legal referrals, including those who are undocumented. The homeless industrial complex is a front for high-end services for illegal aliens. The Weingart Center creates a welcoming community for the ever-increasing homeless migrant population. There they said it. The ever-increasing homeless migrant population. That is the goal. They're creating magnets to bring illegals to California from other states. Why? Power. California is set to lose a catastrophic number of electoral votes in the next census based on population loss. The census counts bodies, not citizens. So California has used the homeless crisis as a cover to import illegals, boost their population, and spend billions of your federal tax dollars on this operation. It's all for power. We checked out one of the homeless shelters named by our whistleblower in Hollywood, and you won't believe what we found. We just had a whistleblower from inside of the homeless industrial complex here in California tell us that the entire system is rigged in order to get around federal law so that federal money can be used to house criminal aliens and their families. They buy luxury goods, they drive brand new sports cars, some of them are from Russia, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, and they live for years inside of these homeless shelters, which are fraudulent and used to launder federal dollars to criminal aliens, and they come from all over the country here. And they said, you should check out Path in Hollywood. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the massive, used to be hotel that's happening all across California, where old hotels are being converted into homeless shelters. They're spending nearly $200 million a year in facilities like this one. Now, where's that money come from? 90% of all the money is your money. It's your federal dollars. And according to our whistleblower, there's no checks on who's getting this assistance. This is federal dollars going directly to criminal aliens, and they've increased. Look at the size of this facility. Look at this.
Oh, they will.
And they say
Trust
that
me, they will.
people living here drive Mercedes. Well, look at this.
It's right there in the parking lot. The Mercedes.
With the, like I said, Nick Shirley's there, and Nick Shirley's all over everything. His name will get out there probably within, if he live streams it right then and there. And then you're going to have, and that's why I love James O'Keefe and his people. They're probably going to try to get some of the higher ups, right? So it'll get from, just businesses and exposing them. So you already know these guys, the O'Keefe people, they're going to go after people in the government.
Locked down more than a prison, Path Villas, Hollywood community. And it's surrounded by luxury vehicles. I mean, here's another view. Audi.
But it's surrounded by these nice trees.
You can see some of the facilities inside. I mean, they look beautiful. They look empty, but they look beautiful.
Let's go around to the front. The reason why the facilities are on lockdown, according to our whistleblower, is because they want to prevent federal government
forces like ICE from entering and from doing immigration checks. So what our whistleblower is telling us is that this is simply a massive complex that is designed in order to get around federal law.
It's like a little neighborhood.
Really nicely funded. I mean, this is where $200 million goes. Look at the balconies. Look at people have plants up there. It's like like people are clearly living here long term.
It's probably most likely one of these public-private, entities where like part of the housing is affordable housing. But I mean, you can see it's really nice.
Hey, what's up? Have you ever stayed at the Path shelter here? Yeah? What is it like in there?
It's like a single studios.
Yeah, good? Nice?
Yeah, it's actually
Did they do any drug or alcohol testing at Path?
not that me is aware of.
Did they demand that you be a U.S. citizen to use their facilities?
That I don't know.
No.
We've made a good faith effort to reach out to the major homeless nonprofits in LA with emails and phone calls. We got a hold of 0 of the facilities. They refused to get back with us or answer our calls. And so we called HUD. This is the Housing and Urban Development Director, Scott Turner, in Congress just a few days ago. Have a listen.
And we're auditing public housing authorities to ensure taxpayer dollars don't support illegal aliens. American dollars should benefit American citizens and American citizens only.
We reached out to the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development with the
It already did. It already did. Yeah, wrong one.
Allegations in this report. Turner told us bluntly that HUD will not tolerate fraud. When we find it, we will act. HUD's Office of Inspector General will do everything in our power to prosecute and apprehend those who break the law. And then he pointed us to the prosecutions of a man in LA who stole $23 million from the American taxpayers just this week. He said that more prosecutions will be coming. We hope our investigation leads to more.
Even if his one just gets it in the door, it's going to get interesting. It's going to interesting. I don't know. Because you already know they're retarded there in Los Angeles. And the LAPD doesn't do shit. Especially since California and the governor, the mayor of Los Angeles, are like, wow, we won't help anything. We need to protect our people. What if you're protecting your people from themselves? And Donald Trump said, we won't do anything until they completely ask us to do. Specifically talking to Los Angeles, Portland, and New York City. They don't want us. You can handle this? Okay. We're not going to help you until you ask for it. But we will defend our buildings. So, they'll be there to protect the buildings, do what they have to do. But with as far as riots, that's on y'all. We got ours. Now you get yours. And that's when the National Guard comes in as well. Right? And you still have the Insurrection Act, just saying. But we'll see. We'll see what comes in the next couple days, maybe. Probably something before Friday, because shit always happens on a Friday. I've always said that, right? Because it preoccupies everything around the world. Like, I don't know, possible World War III? Our ships are almost there. I think that some of them already are. But Iran wants to talk. They want to talk to prevent this. And I think it will happen. If it involves some B-2s and some Tomahawks and the all hell breaking loose, so be it. Forgot where I was going with that one. I want to see the full military might just level a fucking place like I've always wanted to see. Like, I've always wanted to make Israel a giant fucking parking lot. pretty much the whole, you know what I mean? Not just Israel, but, you know, the Gaza Strip, too. Fuck y'all. It's just me. I'm not peaceful. Can be. But I'm also hungry. I'm actually really hungry. So with that being said, I'm not telling you how to think because now I'm really, really hungry. That burp. Yep. I'm just telling you to think. Have a good... Have a good day.